Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Discworld Noir. Now, I'm sure I read accidentally on a walkthrough when I was doing stuff last week that there is something here in Rodan's workshop that we want to pick up. But I don't remember what it was at all. So, oh wait, that's what I wanted. Plaster encrusted bandages. And now I do believe that will help us with something in a second, but whether we do that straight away or not, now that I picked up the bandages, I actually remember what I read I needed to do next. So let's just do it and get out of the way, and then we'll go back to me actually trying to figure out this game for myself. Bum bum bum. Might be worth asking him about Mathan's murder as well.
Just thought we could have a little chat.
Oh, all right then. Make it quick.
So ask him about the bandages first.
Do these mean anything to you?
Well, it could be the work of a plaster surgeon.
A plaster surgeon?
Yeah, they're cosmetic surgeons for trolls. Some trolls on the run wants to change his face. Well, he goes to a plaster surgeon. The Watch would like to get their hands on any plaster surgeons working in Ankh-Morpork, I can tell you.
Don't you want to know where I got them?
They're just some plaster-soaked bandages. Why would I be interested?
Nobby, do you ever actually do any detective work?
Don't know what happened here.
Well, I'm only a corporal.
I'm beginning to understand how detritus got to be sergeant.
Oh. I thought that was going to be more important than that. But anyway, let's ask him about Mathan.
I found out about the murder at the university.
Really?
His name was Mathan, and they found him poisoned in the Widdershin's wing. Tell Vimes.
Mr. Vimes?
Believe it or not, I want to get to the bottom of this case as much as he does.
I don't think anyone could want to get to the bottom of a case more than Mr. Vimes.
These are interesting times.
Well, I thought there was more I could get out of him. But, I've actually now suddenly remembered something else that I read. I do apologise. But, how exactly I do it, I don't know.
As far as I could tell, the barrels were just like the ones in the wine cellar of the Café Ankh, although these ones were empty. The empty barrels at the foot of the palace wall looked like they used to have wine in them.
I'm not 100% sure how to do this. I remember what I want to do, but not how to get there.
The scent was too weak for me to really remember it. One of the empty barrels had a faint magenta trace to it.
Oh my god, surely you can figure out what the magenta trace is, you bloody idiot.
Definitely the same scent as my killer, which meant whoever it was made it into the palace concealed in a wine barrel. Why did that bring to mind the phrase, "You wait, time passes," and Thorin sits down and starts singing about gold?
Well, there we go. We now know that our killer went into the palace in a wine barrel. And we also know where the wine barrels to the palace came from, don't we? Didn't they come from the Café Ankh? Let's have a quick look if we can get into a wine barrel here. You see, I have a plan to do with the Merchants Guild, but it's all going out the window because I'm suddenly remembering all this stuff that I accidentally saw. Let's go down into the Café Ankh. I think you can get into a wine barrel, if I'm correct. That one's probably a bit huge.
I didn't really need a wine barrel. Most of the wine barrels in the Café Ankh cellar had been brought into Ankh-Morpork on the Milka.
How do I do?
I rooted carefully through the receipts, and the only recent purchaser was the patrician. It seems he'd bought a number of barrels of fine wine to take to the palace. I guess the golem I'd seen at the cafe was owned by Lord Veterinary.
What?
The palace was due to buy some more wine. As far as I could tell, they would be collecting it sometime soon.
Now can I hide in
didn't
my
really
barrels?
Most of the wine...
Ugh. What you bloody stupid thing. Maybe now that I know they're collecting it soon, I can go out here and get into a wine barrel. Or get onto the wine cart or something, I don't know. Oh, this is really dumb. Get into a bloody wine barrel, Luton. Just get over it.
Most of the wine barrels... Most of the... I
didn't write a note or anything, did I? Just then. No.
Did the murder of the patrician's clerk have anything to do with the wine barrels?
Yes!
Did the...
It had everything to do with the wine barrels. We just discussed that, you bloody moron.
I rooted carefully. It seems he... The palace was due to buy some more wine. As far as I could tell, they would be collecting it sometime soon.
Then maybe if I use a... Maybe I need to say I want to use a crowbar on it. Good, okay.
I had a long wait, but it paid off.
Well, there we go. We're moving forward. Oh, we're still here. Bloody hell.
There really wasn't anything. The wine barrels had allowed me to break into the palace. It didn't speak too highly of the palace's security, but I wasn't complaining.
I was about to say, wouldn't it weigh differently, but I guess
The
golem
storeroom
wouldn't
was
notice.
filled with boxes of food and supplies. I guess even the patrician had to eat every now and then.
Anything else? Let's do smells. I bet it smells lovely in here, all dead meat. I don't know, there's any smells. Oh, there's a smell of wine. Yes, smell of wine, faint red mist. Any smell of the murderer? Doesn't look like it. Let's go. Why do I need the door to this room open?
Locked. The door was locked. I thought I could make out voices, but I couldn't hear what they were saying.
I don't know if there's anything else I can do in here. Let's... Oh! No, 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 no. Back, 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 back. What was that?
The only noticeable scent in the hallway was someone's trail which led to the double doors.
I already know who that smell is. I just need to get rid of it so I can copy it up. Didn't I have Vimes' smell? No, there we go.
Well, of course it was the same scent.
Screw you! Anyway.
There were people talking behind the door.
Oh, it's a terrible state. I don't know how he puts up with it. Oh, I know, dear, I know. Just because the prisoners don't mean they shouldn't keep their rooms clean. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking. And those ones that are chained up, they're the worst. They think 'cause they get special treatment they don't have to tidy up. Nobody thinks of us cleaners, do they, dear? Perish the thought.
All in all, it wasn't the most useful conversation I could have overheard. Silence. Perhaps I should try a different door.
Also, why is Mrs. Foams also working here? But who knows? I guess it's just easier to use her for two different characters. So the double doors there are the ones that apparently have a person behind them.
The door was locked. I thought I could make out voices.
Let's listen to that first, and then we'll listen to whatever's behind the double doors.
I could hear what I could only assume was some of the patricians' clerks talking.
I do wish people would bear in mind how much paperwork everything is for us.
I know just what you mean. Have you seen file LEW-006?
And clerks, that's the trouble with this city.
First, he steals a crowbar.
Steals a crowbar.
And that's a T-1712 form straight away.
Exactly.
No respect for the patricians, spies and clerks, that's the trouble with this city. No
Oh,
respect for the patricians, spies
The
and
crowbar's
clerks,
only
that's the
start.
trouble
Believe
with
me,
this
I've got
city.
2 counts of murder. They're talking about
That's
me.
an FO86B just to get the list of forms you need.
tell me about it. And as if that wasn't enough, he's only gone and died.
Ah, not another D2317E. I hate those.
Worse, a D66/004B.
Another murder? Oh, I haven't finished the paperwork from Cypher's death yet.
Still, I have to look on the bright side.
What's that then?
At least he hasn't come back from the grave.
Oh, I know what you mean. Those undead citizenship forms are the worst.
No consideration. That's the trouble. No consideration of us hard-working bureaucrats.
The clerks soon returned to their paperwork.
Oh, it's nice to know I'm making a difference.
As a wolf, my hearing was dramatically improved. I could recognize one of the voices as Commander Vimes, and the other voice had the calculating tones of Lord Vetinari, the patrician of Ankh-Morpork.
Are you any closer to a solution for our mutual problem?
No, sir. I've been occupied.
Indeed. And what could occupy you?
There was a string of copycat killings. I've been trying to solve them.
And have you?
No. My lead suspect was killed.
That is very unfortunate.
It certainly was for Luton.
So there has been no progress in determining who killed Cypher.
Not as such.
I had been given to understand that this was precisely the situation you were well equipped to handle.
I will solve this case, sir. You can count on me.
Okay. Do you recall what I said this city reminds me of?
You said it reminds you of a clock, sir.
Indeed. Big wheels and little wheels, all turning at different speeds to keep the machine working. That, after all, is the most important thing. The machine keeps going.
You've told me this before.
Do you know why it keeps working?
Because you want it to keep working?
I'm flattered that you think I have such importance. But no. It keeps running because the people believe it will keep running. Faith is a powerful force.
There is a point to this, sir?
I always have a point. Sometimes it's sharper than others.
I'm sorry. Continue.
One of my clerks has been found face down in a vat of wine, and that makes it appear as if the administration has lost control.
And the administration is me, right?
We are all the administration. You do the work, and I take both the credit and the blame. Provided I do not take the blame, I am content. I trust I make myself clear.
Perfectly.
Suddenly I could smell blood. It filled up my senses like a night in a forest. Except a night in a forest didn't make me want to tear someone's throat out. I didn't know whether the guard had cut himself or if I was just developing a healthy bloodlust, like any young werewolf. But I couldn't control myself.
Oh dear.
The next thing I knew, I was in my office. I had no idea how I got there, how I got my coat out of the palace, or where I'd got a traffic cone from. It had been that sort of night. I was sitting at my desk, thinking over the case, when there was a knock at the door.
I understand you've been a busy boy, Lieutenant.
It's a busy life when you're a private investigator. Plus, you get to see interesting foreign places and learn a trade.
There was a commotion at the palace last night. Perhaps you know about it?
What goes on at the palace has nothing to do with me.
Indeed it is not. And if, for some reason, you did take an interest in the palace, I'm sure you would not be so foolish as to be caught breaking into the palace.
Of course not. Think I'm suicidal?
Strange you should say that. I heard you'd been killed.
I expect you hear a lot of things that aren't true. I bet someone has to explain them to you using very small words.
The thing is, the intruder at the palace appears to have been a werewolf.
There's a lot of that around this time of year, I understand. Must be the moon.
I paid my respects to your grave.
Oh, that was nice of you.
It was empty.
Oh, you know how it is. I get claustrophobic in narrow spaces.
So do werewolves, perhaps?
I wouldn't know about that.
Remember when I said how disappointed I was that I couldn't take you out for free?
Oh, that was a very touching sentiment.
Well, Lord Vetinari has generously offered to pay for the inhumation of last night's intruder.
He has a big heart.
It's a shame no one can find it.
Was there a point to your visit?
I was just passing through. Thought you might benefit from my advice.
How generous of you.
Well, I'll be on my way.
The door's behind you. I can explain how to use it if you want.
Watch your steps, Lieutenant. I will be.
Oh, we're not making good friends. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the time is literally about to end, so that will be all we did for today, but we did quite a lot. We went to the palace and then out of the palace and talked to Remora, and that was lovely for everyone involved. Anyway, I will go and try to do what I already planned to do at the Merchants Guild next week. So if you liked this, return next week, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed it too. Anyway, I will see you next week. Goodbye.